This is At the Public Library, the video source for news and information about the San Francisco Public Library System. Welcome to a special Brave Little Girls edition of At the Public Library, featuring an in-depth look at the Brave Little Girls exhibition and programming, featuring heroines in literature, all happening at San Francisco libraries this fall. Check out Brave Little Girls at the San Francisco Public Library this fall. Hi, I'm Joan Lefkowitz with At the Public Library. San Francisco brings Brave Little Girls to the library this fall. This unique new series includes an exhibition and displays, a contest, a new website, lots of art, and a variety of programs at the main library and the branches. Here are some of the women who helped bring the Brave Little Girls exhibition to the library.
Here in San Francisco, the Brave Little Girls exhibition will be centered around the exhibition itself, which will be in the Jouet Gallery, which is at the lower level of the main library at Civic Center. And then the children's librarians here got very excited about what was in that exhibition, and they came up with a number of books that have been published oftentimes since that exhibition came into being. And they have put together a little over 40 titles of books that we will have on display outside the Children's Center in the cases. And then we have original artwork from some local artists. 3 are from the Bay Area, Carmen Lomas Garza, Min Pak, and Mira Reisberg. And 1 is from Los Angeles, Karen Winnick. And their artwork will be displayed along with the books that they are involved with in the Children's Center. The exhibition Brave Little Girls is coming to San Francisco from the National Museum of Women in the Arts from Washington, D.C. It's the second stop on its touring schedule. It went to Los Angeles first. It's here in San Francisco starting September 9th through November 30th, and then it goes to Denver, Colorado's main library. The exhibition has 58 children's books and 43 original illustrations. It was curated by Krystyna Wasserman, who is the Library and Research Director at the National Museum of Women in the Arts. And it didn't start out to be a traveling exhibition, but the interest level from other venues on this topic and the great books and illustrations that she pulled together just excited individual women in each community. There'll be children's activities from storytelling to art making to the artists locally that I mentioned coming in and working with the children, talking to them about their creative process and why they create, why they do what they do. Some of them are also author and illustrator, so how they come up with the stories for their books and so forth. And all of that will be happening throughout the main and the branch libraries. Project Bandaloop will be here doing an incredible aerial display outside of the main library. They will have sort of an aerial dance going on the Larkin Street side of the building. There will be a young rock climber, female, who will be joining them in this. So it's another way of showing brave little girls. Because the idea of the exhibit, bravery, is not just about the conventional ideas of bravery, although in the books some of the girls do actually save people. But it's a bigger idea of bravery. It's doing kind things and compassionate things. It's being passionate about what you believe in, whether it's girls who like bugs and girls who want adventure and girls who save the prince, or girls who just help out their parents by keeping the light on in the lighthouse when their father is delayed. Bravery takes many different forms and many different aspects, and that's really the heart of this exhibition. And the other part is that we want children and adults too to rediscover if they've forgotten or to learn if they didn't know before, not just the joys of books and reading, but the whole creative process. That's why the whole idea of having the illustrations is there. working with the local artists and having their illustrations so that children can think of this as a fun way to express themselves and, if they like, a viable job option down the road. We also want people to think in terms of writing as something that they might be interested in doing on whatever level. So there's a lot of different ways that this exhibition can resonate with both adults and children. And even though the title is Brave Little Girls, it really isn't meant to ignore little boys. It really is meant to give them a way of looking at girls differently, a way of thinking about girls and their interactions with girls differently. I was just talking earlier today with a woman whose sons love Merced on the High Wire, things like that, where the girls are doing sort of action adventure kind of things that we normally think of boys as doing. Boys will respond to that if you put it out there for them. So there's a lot of different ways that people can really have a good time in this exhibit. One of the things that Krystyna Wasserman, the curator, did was to try and choose, whenever possible, a couple of different versions of the same story. For instance, she has two stories about Harriet Tubman, one of which is done by Jacob Lawrence, who's an artist. The other is done by Faith Ringgold, also a visual artist, most known for her story quilts. And they have two entirely different ways of depicting Harriet Tubman, both equally wonderful, but their art style is very different. The story they tell, Faith Ringgold's story, focuses more, if you will, on kind of the wonderful imagination of children. In hers, the children literally fly. The Harriet Tubman's Underground Railroad is a real railroad to a certain degree, and it flies, and this is how they encounter Harriet Tubman. So it's a more fanciful, if you will, look at the story, but still the underlying seriousness of helping slaves escape and so forth are all there. Jacob Lawrence's book takes a more literal viewpoint of the story and tells it more true to life. The depictions, the illustrations and things like that are much more representative artwork, and the storytelling is not that kind of flight of fancy that Faith Ringgold does. One of the other programs that might be of particular interest to teenagers and their parents probably is that there will be a panel of teenage girls held here at the main library to talk about issues that teenage girls face, and this panel has been put together in part through Yo. So again, if you call Community Relations or check the Brave Little Girl website, you can find out the day, time, and more information about it. But it's one of the things that we wanted to do because we didn't want teenagers to feel they were excluded. The books themselves within the exhibition, Krystyna Wasserman had said that it was kind of geared towards the 8 to 12-year-old range. But the issues that it raises about self-esteem, being yourself, having fun with your peers and so forth, but also being an individual amongst them, really resonate no matter what age you are. And of course we know that teenagers in general have a particularly difficult time becoming who they want to be and remaining true to themselves. So it's great that we've been able, through the Teen Librarian Services, put on some programs specifically geared towards teens that we think they'll like and appreciate in conjunction with this exhibition.
I thought that very few museums and libraries do exhibitions for children. And children are little people, and they like when things are created just for them. And that was one of the reasons why this exhibition was created. But I think also we are a women's museum, and we are interested in issues which are close to hearts of women and girls. And we wanted to make an exhibition about girls of achievement and courage, and to show that there are many girls who are accomplished and brave, and perhaps inspire little girls to read and to write stories and to make pictures, and also to provide role models for these girls. I think it's important because many books in this exhibition reverse the roles which are traditional roles of women, and for example, the girls save the boys. And like even Hans Christian Andersen stories like Wild Swans or Red Cloak, which you see here behind me. They live dangerously, they do some wonderful things, and the exhibition shows that. We have many books about girls from many countries, and each of them is a very brave person and does something unusual. As you will see the exhibition, there are lengthy labels for every book, and it sort of summarizes the story, but it also asks questions, and they are interactive labels intended for children to sort of talk back to the books. And it worked very well because labels can be very boring, and I hope these are not very boring, and the people who give tours can really use them well to interact with children. It's an exhibition for little children from the age of 8 till 12, and we tried really to include children from all over the world. It's very international and it's very multicultural show, and I suppose that's part of my upbringing, that I was always interested in people in other cultures, and we have books from Norway, and we have books from Turkey, and we have books from England and France, and of course that's where these little girls are from, but I think a lot of people could identify with these books. And we also have books for the parents. We have books like Little Women or Secret Garden, and books which are known by everybody. And the selection was really a difficult process because there are so many books published even now, about brave little girls.
My name is Grace Ruth, and I'm the Children's Material Selection Specialist at the San Francisco Public Library. And my role with the Brave Little Girls was to oversee making a complementary book list that would extend and expand upon the one that was done for the exhibit, and try to give some variety and an idea of what's in our collection that features girls. These are some of the books that appear on the San Francisco Public Library list. The first one is called Wilma Unlimited. This is by Kathleen Krull and illustrated by David Diaz. And this is the story of Wilma Rudolph, who became an Olympic track medalist, and she overcame polio as a young child, where she couldn't walk without a brace. One of my favorites is I Want a Dog. The story and pictures are by Dial Kaur-Khalsa, and this is a wonderful story of a girl who just more than anything wants a dog, and her parents say she's not old enough, and she decides that she will, by her ingenuity, prove to them that she's old enough to have a dog, and she starts pretending that her dog is a roller skate on a leash, and she takes the roller skate with her everywhere, and soon every child in her whole town is pulling a roller skate on a leash to show that they can take care of a dog. Wonderful, funny story. The Song of Mulan by Jean M. Lee is a Chinese legend. In this version, it's a translation of a poem. The story is told both in English and Chinese, and Mulan was a young woman who took her father's place and went into the army because he was old and he was being enlisted into the army. She didn't feel that he should go. So she went and fought in his place for 12 years. In Music for Everyone by Vera B. Williams, a young girl named Rosa forms a band with 3 of her friends to help raise money to take care of her grandmother who's ill, because all their spare money in the family has gone to help care for the grandmother. And they've had a jar that people will know from A Chair for My Mother and other stories in the series, a coin jar that they fill up to have money to do things that they would like to do in the family. Saving Sweetness by Diane Stanley and illustrated by G. Brian Karras pokes fun at an old Western type story. And Sweetness is an orphan who can't stand the woman who's taking care of her, and she runs away into the desert. And the sheriff goes after her, but he thinks he's saving her, but in reality, she's rescuing him in every incident that happens in the story. It's a lot of fun. And one familiar oldie, but goodie, is Island of the Blue Dolphins by Scott Odell, a Newbery Award winner. And this is based on a true story of a young woman who was left behind on an island off the California coast, and she survived on her own for 18 years. And if some of you want more suggestions beyond the list that accompanies the exhibit and our San Francisco list, there are 2 new books out this year, one called Great Books for Girls by Kathleen Odeen, and one called Let's Hear It for the Girls by Erica Baumeister and Holly Smith. And both of these books are bibliographies which have descriptions of the books and give you suggestions for several hundred books that represent strong and intelligent females, both real and imaginary.
So here we are at the San Francisco Public Library's main homepage. And to get here, if you want to, from your home, you just type in sfpl.lib.ca.us. And from here, you can get information about the Brave Little Girls exhibit. And if you just page down, you'll see a link right here. That'll get you straight to the page. But also, if you're in the children's room, either at the Chinatown or at the main branch, you'll be seeing this page. So if you want to know how to get to the Brave Little Girls exhibit information from this page, we can just move down, and you can see we have here a link to our Girls Worth Knowing page. And this is our book list that we've created to go along with the exhibit. And down at the bottom, you'll see here is another link to the Brave Little Girls homepage. So you can get there from there too. And also our book list is broken up into 3 parts. So you can just pick picture books, middle readers, or older readers to get the list up. So as you can see, there's lots of great stuff on the webpage about the Brave Little Girls exhibit. So you should, if you want to get more information, you can go ahead and bring it up at home on your computer, and the address is nic.sfpl.lib.ca.us/blg/blg.htm.
So join us at the San Francisco Public Library this fall for the Brave Little Girls Gallery Exhibition in the main library from September 9th through November 30th. And for the San Francisco Public Library Brave Little Girls displays outside the main library's children's department. Or go online for book lists and all kinds of Brave Little Girls links. And check out a great variety of programs throughout the library system.
There will be many Brave Little Girls children's programs taking place this month at branch libraries throughout the city. Come and make kimonos at a Brave Little Girls craft program for children of all ages at the Ingleside Branch Library on Saturday, September 13th at 2:30 p.m. And on Tuesday, September 23rd, the Ingleside Branch will present a Brave Little Girls preschool story time at 10 a.m. On Saturday, September 13th at 2 p.m., the Main Library Children's Center will present a cut paper artwork program for children ages 5 and older. Join local Brave Little Girls exhibit artist Mira Reisberg as she teaches how to make cut paper art. Attendance is limited. Please sign up in advance at the Children's Center librarian's desk. On Wednesday, September 17th at 7 p.m., the Ortega branch will present a Brave Little Girls songwriting workshop with Judith Kate Freeman. And on Saturday, September 20th at 1 p.m., the West Portal branch will present McLaren and Flower as the Gold Rush Sisters, a fascinating program of music and history. On Thursday, September 25th at 10:30 a.m., the Eureka Valley Harvey Milk Memorial Branch will present Megumi and her multicultural stories of brave little girls for children ages 3 to 5 years old. And finally, the Northern California chapter of the National Museum of Women in the Arts will present Brave Art, Seeing and Doing, Art by Women, Art by You. The program for children 6 years and older will demonstrate how artists illustrate their life experiences in children's books and will be followed by a hands-on art project. Space is limited. Please call the branch for reservations. The first program of this series will take place on Thursday, September 11th, 4 p.m. at the Presidio Branch Library and continues at the following dates and locations. Thursday, September 18th, 4 p.m. at the Portola Branch Library. Tuesday, September 23rd, 3 p.m. at the Marina Branch Library. And Thursday, September 25th at 3:30 p.m. at the Park Branch Library. For a complete listing of all the children's programs and events taking place this month at the San Francisco Public Library, check out the print version of At the Public Library, published monthly by the Friends of the San Francisco Public Library and available at all neighborhood branch libraries and the Main.
Throughout the fall, the Opera Guild and the San Francisco Public Library join again to repeat last year's successful collaboration with 1997 Fall Previews, Lectures on Opera. The free programs take place Wednesdays at noon in the main library's Corrette Auditorium. The series kicks off on September 3rd with Death in Venice, presented by Perry Lorenzo. On September 17th, Professor Simon Williams looks at Der Fliegende Holländer. Professor D.B. Green will explain Elektra on October 15th. October 29th brings Robert Glick with a discussion of Guillaume Tell. On November 5th, Pélias et Mélisande will be the subject for Professor David A. Grayson. And the series wraps up on November 19th with Professor Richard Taruskin on Eugene Onegin. So consider this your San Francisco Public Library invitation to the opera.
Now, here's some news and notes of interest about the San Francisco Public Library system. Beginning this fall, the Mission Branch Library at 3359 24th Street will undergo an extensive seismic upgrading and renovation construction project that will greatly improve the structural integrity of the 80-year-old library building, as well as provide additions and improvements all aimed toward better service and access for patrons. During the construction, the Mission Branch will relocate to a temporary site on the 5th floor of the Bayview Federal Building, located on the corner of Mission and 22nd Streets. The move to the temporary site will begin with the closing of the adult section of the Mission Branch on Monday, September 15th. The children's room will remain open through October 12th while library staff pack up and move the adult section to the temporary site. Children's room hours during the move are Sunday, 1 to 5 p.m., Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., Friday, 1 to 6 p.m., and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. The Mission Branch Library will open in its temporary quarters in the Bayview Federal Building on Monday, October 27th at 1 p.m. Planned improvements for the Mission Branch Library include a children's restroom, an elevator, and upgrading of electrical and communications wiring. The renovated Mission Branch is slated to reopen in the spring of $19.99. The August Reader's Best Bets issue of the San Francisco Peninsula Parent Magazine lists the Merced Branch Library as the reader's pick for Best Children's Library and Program. Congratulations to the Merced Branch Library staff and children's librarian Joan Sutton. The Merced Branch is located near Stonestown at 155 Winston Drive. San Francisco Chronicle cartoonist Phil Frank will read from his works, draw cartoons, and converse with Scott Schaefer in a special main library program in the Corette Auditorium on Tuesday evening, September 30th, beginning at 6:30 p.m. After the program, longtime San Francisco Public Library supporter Phil Frank will sign copies of his latest anthology, I'm Ink, Therefore I Am, Farley's San Francisco Chronicles. So don't miss Phil Frank at the main library, Tuesday, September 30th. And for a complete listing of all the adult programs taking place this month at the San Francisco Public Library, check out the print version of At the Public Library, published monthly by the Friends of the San Francisco Public Library and available at all neighborhood branch libraries and the Main. And that's At the Public Library news and notes for now.
Books, check them out. Books, check them out. Pick up a book. You got a fantasy, imagination can take you to where you want to be. Are you curious? How can you find out? Books, check them out. Books, check them out. Read about stars and cars, playing electric guitars, or cops that work hard, patrolling the boulevard, the heavyweight champ and as crazy as Bow. Books, check them out. Books, check them out. At your library.
Want to learn how to read? Want to help someone else learn to read? Contact Project Read of the San Francisco Public Library at 557-4388. Project Read is an adult literacy program that provides volunteer one-to-one tutoring for adult learners. Project Read's support of tutors and students includes tutor orientation and training, continuing education workshops for tutors and students, reading diagnostics for students, family programs, and referrals to classroom instruction at community college centers and to other agencies in the community. There are many ways you can help adults achieve their personal reading goals. Call Project Read to find out how. Learn to read or be a reading tutor. Phone 557-4388.
Friends for Life volunteers bring the riches of the San Francisco Public Library to people who can no longer visit the library themselves. Friends for Life volunteers provide a link between the San Francisco Public Library and people with AIDS or HIV disease. If you would like to be a Friends for Life volunteer, or you are in need of the services Friends for Life provides, call 557-4352 for more information.
Thanks for watching At the Public Library here on City Watch Cable Channel 54. You can catch At the Public Library Monday mornings from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. and from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. Friday evenings from 8 to 9 p.m. and Saturdays from 12 noon to 1 p.m. See you next time.